Black Oni.
You're now listening to the Black Oni podcast.
What is up, beautiful people? On the road, at home, on their
road.
I mean, hey, MP3s, iTunes, YouTube. They're listening to it on
Okay.
Just don't
Some
watch.
people are like actually watching while they're on the road.
Please don't watch while you're on the road. Will's so beautiful. We are on episode 43 of the Black Oni podcast, and I'm joined today by Kkosaurus.
What's going on?
I have to get used to saying that now.
No, me too. So
It used to be the one KK, but now we've moved on to Kkosaurus.
yep. Yeah.
It's a good thing. I like it. And we have Dream Manifested.
What's going on?
And we have a lot of interesting things to talk about today. This episode is called To Be Born of Blood and Enter Mortal Kombat.
Weird.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, right?
Sounds like a TLC show.
That would be a really messed up TLC show.
Well, there's a lot of TLC shows about like giving birth.
Oh, okay. I
Like-
guess that makes sense.
There's definitely one about just giving birth in like a parking lot.
Is the show just premised on...
bursts on TLC? No, let's do it in the bathtub. Let's buy one of those inflatable pools.
Wait, so is it a show literally dedicated to just like parking
I
lot delivery?
think it's about giving birth in the woods.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's about.
Okay, I'm not mad at it.
I mean, that's the same network that brings you the like whatever it's called, like Pregnant and Didn't Even Know It show.
That's true. For punishment, all right, this is gonna sound really fucked up. For punishment, when I was in middle school or high school, I think it was middle school, for not doing as well in school or some shit like that. I don't remember what it was. My mom took away our cable and told me that I can only watch TLC.
But that was back when it was like educational, right?
Kind of, yes. It was educational with a little bit of that other bullshit thrown in there.
Now it's all just like
That's before Bridezilla really took off.
yeah. Now TLC is like all about wedding dresses, giving birth, and strange medical oddities, and that's it.
Wow. Good job, TLC.
Eating deodorant.
and deodorant or toilet paper.
It's the truth. It's sad. That's how all of it. I mean, I know we kind of straight for it, but like even Animal Planet. Like I used to learn a lot from Animal Planet. Now they got ghost stories on Animal Planet.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
But they also have Too Cute, which is just amazing.
I didn't see that yet.
It's just
I know my lighting is bad, but I don't know if you could tell how I squint my eyes.
Too Cute. It's just like puppies. It's just half an hour of puppies or kittens.
I mean, that's not so bad. I know G4 TV totally off tracked whatever the fuck they were doing. Yeah. Yeah. Before we go into any more, I want you guys to quickly, or not quickly, talk about what it is you guys do aside from the Black Oni podcast. It's been a while since we've had Dream Manifested on. We've been trying to get him on, but the Sundays haven't worked out as well for him, and that's when we usually record. So today we're doing Saturday. I want to include my boy into this.
Well, yes. Unfortunately, Sundays don't work because I too have a 9 to 5 or 7:15 to 3:45. I got you. But what I'm really trying to do, get into, of course, is I want to make games. So, as I've met Will, he's kind of like a mentor as far as the art realm, as far as definitely with that recent video you put out, as far as what it's like to be a gamer and an artist and all that stuff. I can definitely. So that's how we connected. Because when I saw your video, I was like, "Yo, we like the same stuff." So I'm trying to get into that concept realm. I want to create. So I just been working hard on that.
That's right. Hard
on that.
Is there anywhere people can go to check out your content, check out some of the stuff you're working on?
Well, If you go to DeviantArt, what is it? How do you do it? DeviantArt / Dream Manifested, I think is how you do it. Or
dreammanifested.deviantart.com, I think.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
You can see some of my works of art. And then, I mean, we still have the GameHow.com channel. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit different than it used to be. It's more of like a Tumblr blogish now. But we do have something in the works at Saber Wolf that we are trying to put on, that we're slowly working toward, and hopefully it'll be not too far in the future, but hitting your mobile devices.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to hear. And speaking of, what about Kkosaurus?
Well, I teach English classes. That's my main job, so it's fun. I also game a lot, write about gaming, write about other stuff. I have a lot of things going on, and none of them that I don't put enough attention into any of them. There's just too much going on all the time.
What is your Twitch channel? That's been one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of lately, and I like it.
Twitch.tv/Kkosaurus, and it is spelled like you think it is, with an O and not an A at the end. The A is also me, but there's nothing there. I've also got a Tumblr, which is kksaurus.tumblr.com. Twitter's the same. Well, not the same, but Twitter/Kkosaurus. And I got a YouTube, but that's just linked from the others because it's random. So, because that's how YouTube does now, until you have like 1,000 followers.
1,000 followers! Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Speaking of, everyone at home, the milestone has finally been reached. I've reached 1,000 subscribers. I couldn't be more thankful. There's still a lot more to go. There's still a lot more things to do. But I'm really glad that we've reached 1,000 subscribers, and it's going to continue going uphill from there. And hopefully that kind of love will trickle to you guys as well, because everyone who's watching this podcast, watching the videos, will see, I've played with Kkosaurus, who was the one KK. I've played with Dream Manifested. You guys are in some of those videos, so people can backlog into that and check out your videos and your content based on those links I put in there. So, for you guys at home who are wondering who these people are, don't worry. I've actually had them in gameplay videos. I've had them on plenty of podcasts.
We're just strangers. We just ran into us on the street and demanded that we come on this podcast. I'm like being held at knife point right now.
I paid him with popsicles that were melted.
Yeah.
That's the saddest thing I could think of at the
just
moment.
Wet sticks.
Just wet sticks. So.
Oh, that was quick. I'll talk about Tumblr following.
Oh, okay. All
I got the notification on my phone, so I just followed it. Well, I saw it at first, and I didn't realize it was you, and I was like, wait, that was just mentioned, but this podcast isn't live.
That's awesome.
I was reading this morning all about the deep web, because I was just an article on it, and I started reading about it entirely too much, so I'm slightly paranoid right now.
Oh boy,
who's listening to this?
The Tumblr just says the NSA is now following you. Damn it!
Shit.
God damn it, Microsoft Skype bullshit. We're gonna go into the icebreaker. I needed to use a soundboard for this. I can't do that every time. What is the most difficult most difficult game you've ever played? And actually, I'm kind of like, I'm struggling to answer that question, because there have been some games that came out that were just like hard because their controls were so bad, or hard because mechanically it's just meant to be really difficult.
I mean, I've been going back and playing original Super Mario Brothers games on my Wii U, and I don't remember them being difficult, but I'm really, really bad at them now.
But is it because you're playing on the Wii U sticks, though?
I think it's just because I'm not used to it anymore. Like, I'm not used to, like, straightforward platformers anymore.
Yeah.
And the things that you do in those games aren't intuitive. I think I just remember it as being easy because I'd spend, like, whole days on one level.
Right.
Like, because I had nothing better to do at the time. And there weren't many better options for video games, so.
That's true. That's a good answer.
Well, well, we all know where this is going, right?
I think I know where it's going.
We all know this is going to lead to Bloodborne, being that it's the the child of the creators of Demon Souls and Dark Souls and all that. Which, unfortunately, I have not. I've yet to play. I might get Dark Souls 2 just because I played Bloodborne and I like it.
Dark Souls 2 is much slower. Just letting you know.
Oh,
Much slower.
maybe not. But I would say it's a mix between Bloodborne and Ninja Gaiden. As fast paced as Ninja Gaiden is, it still has its moments that's very difficult, and you end up having to replay a boss because you messed around and dashed. You did one extra dash and got messed up. So, but both of those games are still not difficult to the point where they're difficult enough to the point where it becomes addicting. Like, you know what? No, I'm gonna conquer you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you. So, yeah.
I think those are very solid answers. I would agree with all that. I think there was a game that came out a long time ago called Blue Stinger.
Blue Stinger.
See what that is.
It was on Dreamcast. I believe it was called, huh?
And I said that would be why.
And I want to go to that. I think that was what it. Yeah, it was called Blue Stinger. And you know, it was made by. I think it was just made by. That game got an 8.4 out of 10 on IGN. Are you
Yeah, I'm
fucking
looking
kidding
at
me?
it too. Yep.
What? GameSpot gave it a 6.3 out of 10.
Rest in peace, Dreamcast. Mine just randomly stopped working one day.
Oh damn, that sucks. So the reason why this game was so difficult was because the camera was really bad and the controls were kind of clunky. And it was kind of trying to be like this mixture between Resident Evil and, I don't know, some other shit. And it was, you know, these creatures running around, and the game really didn't give you direction on what you were supposed to be doing. And there were like areas you entered that were like in a freezer, and it was really cold, and your health was going down all the time. And then there were monsters like attacking you while this was going on, and there was like poison. And then you find a napalm gun that you had no ammo for it ever. Like, it was just like all this shit they threw at you that made no sense unless you were like, I don't know. I was younger when I played this game, so maybe I just was fucking dumb and didn't know. But a lot of the concepts in the game just made no fucking sense. And so I think that was, if I like go back to my memory and think about like where I was stuck. I never finished that game. That was one game I never finished because I couldn't figure out what to fucking do. That was the hardest game for me. I think because it was mechanically flawed.
I think games where you just don't know what to do for long periods of time are the most frustrating thing.
Yeah.
Games where like you just get no direction.
Yeah. And in a way, Bloodborne is like that, but they kind of give you hints of what you should be doing based on the environment and based on kind of the level design, not necessarily because of the story elements. And so, yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think games have to really be careful about that, walking that fine line between not holding your hand and also like making it difficult for you to kind of like figure out what to do just based on instincts.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. In regards to Bloodborne, while they kind of lead you with enemies, that's still like some of the side quest stuff.
Yeah.
Before I did, like, me and my homeboy Cricket, we were running through it, and he was like, yeah, so we're going to go talk to this person, then go all the way back here. And I was like,
how the fuck are we supposed to know that?
Exactly. Like, where was that? Why would we even do this? He's like, I don't know, I read it. Well, how did that person know? Like,
Yeah.
there's no map.
Nope.
Unless you go to the wiki. The wiki got everything.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, though. If this game came out when the time Blue Stinger came out, I would have probably said the same shit. Like, fuck this game. They don't give you anything. There's no map. Like, that's so weird to think about a game like that has no map.
I mean, I don't usually carry a map around with me everywhere I go, so I guess it makes sense.
You also don't carry around 20 weapons.
That's true too.
They could have just had like a little hood, you know, in the top left. Mm-hmm. They don't even need to have the regular, you know, pull up your map, okay, like the dungeon map. I don't need that. Just give me a compass, damn it.
Let me know what direction I'm facing. Yeah. We'll move into the gaming news. Would love to know what you guys have been playing now. This time I'll start with what I've been playing because I've been playing a bunch of different things and I've been streaming it all on twitch.tv/jblaze06. I just finished Grand Theft Auto 5.
What?
Yeah, I feel really good about having finished that. And
I have not finished that.
yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I think they still need to fix the controls. I still think they are less responsive than I would particularly like. But it's still good. I finished Dragon Ball Xenoverse since the last time we had a podcast agenda. That was a good game.
You've been playing a lot of games.
I have been playing a shit ton of games.
Slacking, so.
I've been playing Bloodborne. I actually just beat Bloodborne on stream last night. I beat the final boss on my second try. That was pretty satisfying.
Now, did you have the 3 umbilical cords?
I only had 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And I looked it up as I was at the final battle. I was like, I wonder what this other boss people kept telling me about was. And it was like, oh yeah, if you have 3 parts of the umbilical cord, you can fight. I'm like, who? What? Why don't you give me a hint at that in the game? Tell me these things.
I must once again comment that this sounds like a TLC show.
We gotta get the umbilical cord out the way. Oh man. Foolish.
Yeah, I've been playing that. I've been playing Guilty Gear Xrd again. I've been getting back into that, and I've been loving it. Jermaine, I hope you've been practicing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're the reason why I bought that game. You know that, right?
Oh, I know. I've been trying to get you back on, but I think our schedules haven't been aligning very well.
Piss me off.
I mean, I'm around to play today if you want to get on.
Word.
And those are the major games I've been playing lately. I've been playing a lot of other things. I've been playing Fantasia, for example, and I've been playing
Fantasia?
Disney Fantasia on the Xbox One.
Who you been playing by yourself?
Yeah, sometimes I have like my friends over when we play, but like that game's dope.
I don't know by yourself. It's like playing. I mean, I can't judge because
it's not playing like Just Dance. It's like playing DJ
me and
Hero.
Guitar Hero had a really close relationship for a long time.
What game?
Guitar Hero.
Okay, all right.
I was playing Guitar Hero when I didn't have a system. I just had a guitar on YouTube. Yeah, it was bad.
Wait, how the fuck?
That's how I got good. But someone stole my 360. I had a guitar. You turn it on YouTube. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you practice. You got used to seeing. Okay, all right. I can see that.
The dark days.
Oh, that's some bullshit. What have you been playing, Kkosaurus?
I haven't been playing as much as usual. It's like midterm time, and I'm moving, and I'm trying to find a job for the summer. So I've been playing less than usual, but I've played a little Bastion on Tuesday, which was fantastic. Been playing a whole bunch of Hearthstone because I can just sit down and play that for like 20 minutes. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze because I got it for free, so I played that on Sunday.
Nice.
I think that's about it. A little bit of like a bunch of other things, but like 5 minutes at a time. So that's about it right now.
Okay. And I also want to give a shout out to Ben Hindle. I don't know if you're listening to this, but we've had him on the podcast actually. Harold Balls, that was his name, his tag name. He's developer behind Because Zombies. I've been playing that on mobile in between work every now and then. And it's a really fun game.
Nice.
It's kind of like Plants vs. Zombies, but you have more control and more tools at your disposal and many different types of enemies. Kind of that style of game. But what about you, Dream Manifested?
Well, of course, been playing this Bloodborne. I got really like addicted at once. I was playing Final Type 0. Mm-hmm. Bloodborne came along, and I haven't picked up Type 0 since. I got to go back to it because Type 0 was actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
So on the PlayStation, I've been playing Bloodborne, and I haven't even picked up Destiny in forever. I check in the morning on YouTube what Xur has just to see if they're gonna give me the Gallahorn. And on Xbox, I've gone back to Ghost. I can't do Advanced Warfare. I can't do
Really?
it. And I'm having fun on Ghost too. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I don't know the thing about Advanced Warfare. Like, I was trying to wait till we got a little more into the discussion, but as we'll get to it later. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this that will segue into one of our discussions moving forward, but we will talk about the latest game releases very quickly because there are a lot of them since the last podcast. Battlefield Hardline came out. There has been good and bad things said about Battlefield Hardline. I'm not really sure where I lay on it. People like Angry Joe, for example, I'll give a shout to you because I'll also be mentioning him later on in the podcast. Said that the game felt lazy and they felt like it was an expansion pack, which I totally agree with in terms of like the expansion pack sensibility of it. But I have people who I know personally who've been on this podcast, Bauer Kills, Jordan, give it raving reviews saying that this is what Battlefield 4 should have launched like it in terms of like functionality, in terms of like working properly, in terms of fun. He said he's been having a lot of fun with it. So I think from what I'm hearing, Battlefield 4 is a better bang for your buck because you can get it for less and it has more content. But because it had not been working for so long, people don't really think about it anymore. So
I don't know. I also don't think I could justify buying either game at this point. Like for Hardline,
Right.
buying a game being like, this is what that last game that you already bought and sold. You should buy this. No.
With,
I
like,
should
less
not buy
content.
anything from you ever again.
like
That's
less guns, less abilities. I think they added some stuff for the scouts, which are really cool. But yeah,
Yeah, I did play. I played the beta. I mean, it was fun. Don't get me wrong. And I downloaded it on PlayStation, which I usually don't play my first-person shooter on PlayStation. But it was pretty fun. But yeah, definitely, I could see the whole how it feels like an expansion pack because it wasn't anything different, to be honest, from Battlefield 4. Aside from, I guess, the setting,
right.
doing heist. Or not necessarily doing heist. Well, kind of doing it if you're on the opposing team, but it's not even really in the heist in the sense of like the payday feel.
Right.
It's just like all it is just a remapping of everything. But I mean, it works. It's fixable. But yeah, I couldn't necessarily warrant buying it.
Maybe for like $20, treat it like a real expansion.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are the Final Fantasy Type 0? We talked about a little bit. Tales from the Borderlands, Episode 2, as well as Resident Evil Revelations 2.
You've played some of the Telltale games, right?
Oh, hell yeah. So has Kkosaurus.
Yeah, I play.
I think
Now,
all except for Tales from Borderlands. So
Yeah, same here.
so okay. Now, how much playing is really involved in those games?
it varies. I mean, sometimes it's sort of like just a choose your own adventure game.
Okay.
Like, but other times, like, every single game has different. Every episode has at least one action part, and some have more than others.
Okay.
So sometimes it's like quick time events. I think it's pretty much always quick time events in terms of the action oriented stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like in The Walking Dead. Sometimes it's random, like first person shooter,
Yeah.
like easy first person shooter,
Yeah.
or not easy, but like simplified.
Yeah, like you just point where you want to shoot, and then it'll shoot, and then you shoot, and then you shoot, or like if you're meleeing, you're doing that. So, to be honest, saying it out loud doesn't sound like it's as much fun as it actually is. But like once you're like in there, like if you've ever played like a point and click adventure style game, you know that like once you actually doing it, you're like, oh man, like I have like kind of a say as to how this story goes, and that's a really empowering feeling.
And I think other than just like the changing the narrative, I think where they're strongest are like the investigating type scenes.
Exactly. You can walk. It's like a little puzzle solving incident where you walk around the environment and look for things.
Or either you have to figure out what happened, or you have to figure out like how to get out, or whatever.
Okay.
I highly recommend Telltale Games.
Okay. Well, definitely might have to get it a chance then.
Yeah. I was streaming that, and that was one of the biggest stream things I was doing. Like people were tuning, like even people who've already played them, they were tuning in to watch it because like it was like a really fun type of thing to be a part of, or like to help make decisions about.
I'd say check out Life is Strange as well. It looks a lot better. Like it's a Telltale Games that actually looks like it isn't on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I have to. I'm thinking.
It's don't not, but
I think I might wait until the full release of Life is Strange comes out.
You still got like 4 months before it's done.
Damn.
Same with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, dude. Is Game of Thrones have episode 2 out yet?
Yeah, it has episode 3 out.
Oh, okay.
There are 6 or 7 total. So
Okay. I might have to jump on both of those then.
they're releasing at the same time, oddly enough.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I think they're finishing at the same time too.
Borderlands: The Handsome Collection.
Now I'm thinking about getting that. I don't really know where. Initially, I was that was going to definitely be an Xbox purchase, but being that most of my Xbox friends said they were not a fan of the whole the pre-sequel with the gravity and the oxygen and the gravity, mainly the gravity. They didn't like that sense. So I don't even know because I don't know who I'm playing with. No one else has it.
I'm thinking about getting it when it gets cheaper. I'm not thinking about getting it right away.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting it, but once again, like nobody else is buying it for full price, so
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Borderlands always had the problem where like it doesn't level match. So if you're playing with your friends, like you have to consistently play with the same people every time they're playing, or else one of you gets way over leveled. Like within a session.
But at least Borderlands is also the type of game where you could quickly level your friend up. And that's like unlike Destiny. So that was one of the biggest things, like when they were doing the comparisons, it's like Borderlands, but a little bit Borderlands and Halo. But like in Borderlands, if I had a friend that just jumped on and I put him, in the game with me, that first level that we complete, he's going to level up like 10, 15 levels.
Yeah.
Not in Destiny.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm just spoiled by Diablo with Apprentice mode.
Yeah.
That's true.
I don't know why every game doesn't do that.
Because they're assholes.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bloodborne. They really should. They like this whole idea of you can't join your game, you can't join your friend if you're like a certain percentage points over their level. Like just let them go down to their level, to their base level, so that they can play together. Like don't make it complicated if you don't need to. Like the game is already.
Or just let them in and it don't matter.
Yeah.
They'll level up or they'll stay out the way. It will stay out the way. You just stay back there, all right?
And I know Mario Party 10 has also released on the Wii U.
So fun.
Yeah, you like it?
I love it. It's actually probably one of my least favorite of the Mario parties. It changed the whole gameplay style. They simplified it, but it's still really fun.
So what is it specifically about Mario Party? This is one of the things I want to talk about because this kind of relates to some of the Nintendo things we'll talk about later.
What do I like about it?
Yeah. Like, what's different about it versus the other Mario Party games?
Well, they changed it. Like, old Mario parties, it was always everybody playing for themselves on a board. You play a minigame after every round, collect coins to buy stars. The most stars wins. They simplified it so everybody moves together. The boards are smaller. There's less minigames. Like, you play less often, and there are less to choose from.
What do you feel about that, though? Because I think, like, for me, the biggest thing was the minigames.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I understand why they simplified it because, like, some of the last Mario parties, like a game could take like 6 hours because people were like on the wrong parts of the board. Wow. So I understand why they simplified it, but I wish that they hadn't taken so many of the minigames out.
Right.
Like if you go to the list of minigames, I think it has less games overall too than any other Mario Party, at least since like N64.
Wow.
Oh boy, the memories.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna eventually get a Wii U, but luckily, being that Zelda, I guess, was pushed back, I get to wait another. I get to put it off another year.
Yeah, right.
And I was definitely like, man, I'm trying to be a broke.
and that's the thing too. Is like I'm in a tricky situation. I think a lot of people are in the same situation. Is that like they could get a Wii U now, knowing that Nintendo's about to announce their next system, or they could wait until next year, when they will likely have another price drop for the Wii U, and Zelda will be out.
Yeah.
And there's a possibility that the next Nintendo system will be able to play Wii U games, so it's like...
Depends on what they do.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Like, it might be able to play Wii U games, but it might be able to play them like the Wii Play GameCube games where you have to buy them all again.
Yeah. So that's the thing too. Is like, do you wait then to find out what the situation is with that, and then buy it there?
I don't know. You guys missed out on Club Nintendo. It is now gone, and I've gotten so much free stuff from Club Nintendo.
They stopped Club Nintendo?
They did.
Bastards.
Why?
It ended last month.
They knew I didn't have a Wii U yet.
It wasn't popular enough outside of Japan.
Like most of the decisions that they make in general, but they don't stop those.
Yeah. But they're doing something new in the future. They just haven't said what yet.
Oh, okay.
But that means that, like, right now, if you buy a 3DS or Wii U, you don't get Club Nintendo credit for it. You don't get any loyalty credit for it.
Interesting.
Same with any games.
Is that how you were able to get a Tropical?
That's how I got Tropical Freeze for free. That was my final platinum reward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is on here. Slender the Arrival. I actually might get that so I can play some scary games on stream, because I know some of you guys at home love seeing that. You love seeing me get the shit scared out of me.
That will never be my niche, I'll tell you that.
I did make my friends play PT yesterday.
Oh my god.
Except that when I started up the game, there's no way to restart.
Really?
Until you finish, and I never quite finished, so we ended up where I stopped.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Someone on stream was like, play PT. I was like, guys, I'm not mentally prepared for that right now.
Can we wait till the morning?
I gotta be energized. I gotta,
I did play Home yesterday, which is a weird 8-bit horror game, and it was one of the strangest experiences I've ever had.
Was it scary?
No. Like 8-bit, you wake up in a house, and then like you find dead bodies and all these other things, but it keeps asking questions in past tense, like I saw a bloody knife on the floor. Did I pick it up?
You're like,
I'm still in the action of doing
And then I reached the end of the game, because the game's only like an hour and a half long, and it asked like a couple questions that could negate everything the game was hinting at. Like, oh my god, I couldn't have killed those people, could I? And I just said no. And then I was like, oh, that's it.
And then put the controller down. Like, all right.
I was worried I might have found my wife's body. Did I find it? No. Oh, I guess she never existed, and I made her up. So the game just like ended. I left the house, and the game was just like, eventually the police will come. Will you still be there? Will you still be there to help me? And then it just ended. And both Sarah and I were just like, what? What just happened? But apparently, every time you play through, every little decision changes everything from that point forward, which is interesting. But it was one of the stranger games I've ever played.
That sounds strange as hell.
I got it because it was 80 cents on PlayStation sale like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, dude, that's not bad.
When I bought Tennis in the Face, which is amazing.
Tennis in the face?
Yeah.
Like face tennis?
Yeah. Well, it's like Angry Birds, but with tennis balls and real people instead of pigs.
That's great.
Yeah, it was 80 cents. If you see it on sale for like less than $5, I'd advise it.
Okay, all right, that's legit.
I find it great. I find it stress relieving and also incredibly stressful. But I've beaten it with a perfect score on every level except the bosses. So.
Damn.
Yeah, see, I say I haven't been playing any games, but what I really mean is I haven't been playing any serious games. I've been down just doing bullshit for hours and losing track of time.
We have Infinite Crisis on PC. Forza, as it's pronounced, I guess. Horizon 2 presents Fast and Furious, which I did get a chance to play and is pretty cool.
Is Vin Diesel in it?
Not that I know of. But someone who sounds like Ludacris, who probably isn't, is.
Weird.
Pretty sure it's not him.
Pretty sure. Dead or Alive on PC, which is awesome.
So apparently, I was reading,
New mod?
and we know this is on PC and it's Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Apparently, there are some mods for the game,
Oh, that's
for
right.
a game that already has an independent juggle feature, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
So he's going to leave it at that. I'm going to take it to the next step. So,
I mean, is there a mod that actually lets me just replace all of the players with boobs?
Well,
Not that they're naked, but that they actually are just like
even the males?
boobs. And boob hands.
And boob hands.
well, the mod is to have less clad females as in not really clad at all.
So yeah,
I would also enjoy a mod that does the opposite, that covers them up entirely with many, many, many layers of clothing. I would like the nuns.
I would also think that would be amazing. I would think both of those options are amazing because, it's really funny when they announced that the game was coming to PC. I remember the creator, the now creator, who was working on this instead of Itagaki. He said, I would hope that our community doesn't go overboard, and he said something like, have respect for the something, not to do anything that we haven't already done. I'm like, really? Really?
Well, then you, sir, should not be releasing this on PC.
Just don't do it. I mean, people make fan art of them naked all the time. I don't know why you think they won't do it in the game.
Now that they have the ability to do what they want.
Right.
And what's crazy is like for the Tekken, I'm a big Tekken fan. Mm-hmm. For Tekken 7, there's a new character that's gonna be released, and there's some backlash about it being released.
Heard about that. She was
in
Thai
US.
woman, right?
She had the paws and all. Yeah. And they were like, the complaints were she seemed to be sexualized. For one, she got a whole lot more clothes on than the Dead or Alive girls, and Tekken don't have independent jungle feature, but I've never seen anybody complain about Dead or Alive.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I think it's because people don't take Dead or Alive at all seriously in any way, ever since beach volleyball happened.
I would agree and disagree with that. I think the general populace doesn't take Dead or Alive seriously, but fighting game fans do.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying in terms of like criticism, as soon as they actually made it so that there was a physics model just for boobs, I think they lost any chance of anyone ever saying that they were like progressive.
This is true. And a lot of the guys in that game also have very little clothing on as well, but that's a very different scenario because I think there are more female characters in Dead or Alive than there are male characters.
Indeed.
See them all dressed up like
most characters are ninjas. That all you see is their eyeballs or their arms anyway.
I think Kasumi has a costume similar to that. A costume.
I just want them all wearing like nun habits and like full-on hoop skirts with petticoats. I want it to be like Victorian Dead or Alive, where if they even show an ankle, it's totally scandalous.
It's really interesting how the spectrum kind of like shifts in society, right? It's like, don't cover yourself at all, it's bad.
Yeah.
Cover yourself at all. Cover all of yourself, it's bad. It's like, God damn it, people.
I want the only clothing options to be habits, full, gigantic hoop-skirted dresses, and like burqas, and that's it. Mainly because I want to see what the physics engine does with that.
It breaks. It just breaks. Game Tokiden Kiwami released on the PS4 and Vita, which I'm actually interested in. Because I wanted to get the original Tokiden on the Vita, but since I don't really play my Vita that much, it didn't really make sense to outright buy it right away. But I might do that. I mean, I still have my Vita and it's still sitting by my other games. Right now, it's just as a collection piece. I don't really play it, which is kind of sad. But I mean, to be honest, like most of the time I'm gaming, I'm at home and I'm on my TV or my I mean, like I just take my PS4 controller and just like jam out.
Right.
Like if I could use my PS4 controller on my Vita, I think I would play it more.
Maybe a way to do so.
There's a way to do that if you're doing remote play.
Ah.
Like that's if you're doing it to your PS4, not necessarily to your Vita. But I think there is technically a workaround way to do something of that nature, but it's not built into the.
But you'd also have to like hold the Vita like this, and then the controller like that, and that would be really awkward because the Vita's like this big, the screen's this big.
I mean, like you can prop it up on something, just prop it up against like a water bottle or something.
I think I jumped.
I would rather do that than like hold it for extended periods of time. It's not that comfortable to hold that long.
I haven't had a handheld since the little see-through Game Boy Color.
I've got a brand new Monster Hunter 3 DS.
That is a beautiful fucking system.
Because I'm weak.
Can you hold up for our guests to see?
Yeah.
Hold
Please
up for our people. It is so beautiful. It is a It is a very, very pretty system. Look at that thing. Look at it.
Nice.
Sexy.
I'm also excited to try Xenoblade Chronicles because I never played it on Wii, and it only plays on the new 3DS. It's like the only game to only play on the new 3DS because it has too much, like, it requires too much from the graphics.
Right. Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin Edition also released. And yeah, you guys at home, if you want to see kind of a full list of all the games that came out between the last podcast, episode 42 and 43, which is today's.
And Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. That released yesterday.
Which one?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
Is that on the list?
It came out yesterday.
Okay. So I don't know if it's actually on here. Probably somewhere on here. But did you buy Xenoblade Chronicles already?
I didn't. It was on my Amazon list. Like, I had bought it and I canceled it because I just don't have time to play it.
Right.
So
Right.
I threw it on my GameFly. It'll be on the summer. It'll be on my queue for the summer.
Nice.
Do you still feel GameFly is worth it? Because I'm still...
I don't know. I got it again mainly just for the summer to see how it goes, and I just got myself like a 6-month gift subscription.
Oh wow.
But my first game that I got, it took 3 weeks to get to me.
God damn.
And I'm told that they were better about that. I don't think they are.
We were in the Black Only podcast discussion, and I think Sam was mentioning it was better.
Yeah, he also might just live closer to like a distribution center, but like I made my game queue, 3 games were available and none of them shipped for 6 days.
God damn.
And then when it did ship, it took more than a week to get to me. Like, I don't know what shipping they use, but it's awful.
That's crazy.
And so we'll move on to the other parts of the gaming news. So the DLC is kind of a hot topic, but it's also part of our news this week because Mortal Kombat X is allowing people to play with the DLC characters for free in certain mode. And
makes sense. Like a free-to-play type of thing, like a League of Legends style rotating character to get people to buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a way, the adverse, but also not entirely adverse version of that is DLC done wrong in The Last of Us multiplayer. And this is something that I've talked about at great lengths before, so I won't talk about it too much. I'll let you guys actually talk about it more than I will. But the main reason why I have an issue with the way The Last of Us gives you its DLC content is not necessarily the cosmetic items. I think the cosmetic items and the animations and stuff like that, that's all really cool stuff, and like as an optional thing to get, I think it's really cool. I think it's a really smart way to get people to buy content without actually taking away from the overall experience of anyone else.
I don't know. I mean, I also think it depends on how much you have. If you have like tons of cosmetic stuff and like animations and everything, at some point I feel like if it's only a few things that are available, okay, cool. Those were done after the fact. But when it's like a whole team just made all this shit to try and get people who already spent $60 on a game to drop another $20, that's silly. That's been included in my $60 price tag. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And to his credit, we have the option to not buy it.
Yeah.
You always have the option. At the same time, I feel like the cosmetic stuff is what should be free. I feel like Destiny is what kind of opened a lot of people's eyes about the whole DLC sometimes being bullshit, just because people who data mine or who just look for glitches in the game, they'll find areas where this was already in there. It just wasn't accessible to what they released.
Right.
When a DLC is truly like an expansion, okay, you're purchasing another level. Or, when it's something like that, like for Borderlands, I didn't mind that because you're purchasing more story content and all of that, which wasn't on the game, or at least to my knowledge, it wasn't on the game.
Right.
That I understand paying money for, but personally for me, I think I don't like, as far as cosmetic stuff or maybe an extra character, that kind of stuff, I think that's all should be included in what you've already paid.
If it's a $60 game, it should be. Or at least there should be like a way to unlock it.
Yeah.
Earn credits to unlock it at some point, and then if you want to buy credits, unlock it earlier, okay.
That would be a good model.
But like game breakers, like overpowered weapons, like boosts that make you unbeatable to people who haven't bought them, unacceptable.
Yeah,
100% unacceptable. If you're going to do that, your multiplayer should release separately. It should be free, and then I will pay for that.
absolutely. And the thing about it is, The Last of Us, in a way, does what Mortal Kombat does. It does give you the ability to choose a pre-baked class that has some of those new weapons and new abilities, but you can't actually choose what's going to be on those classes. And so, in a way, it's letting you play them on your own a little bit, but in another way, it's really not, because there are all those other weapons that don't have classes associated with them that you don't get to use because you didn't buy it. And I think it's bullshit.
It's also weird because like The Last of Us is not a game that people bought for the multiplayer. It's a game that people bought for like every other Naughty Dog game. Like you don't buy Uncharted so you can play the multiplayer.
And to be fair, The Last of Us multiplayer, aside from the DLC bullshit that they did with the perks and the weapons, is fantastic. Like I've played that so much. It's surprisingly good once you get a handle for how the mechanics play out. It's really, really good.
That all makes me just think if they had released it separately,
Absolutely.
made the multiplayer free with the base models, or did like a rotating thing to sample other things, people would have bought more, and
Absolutely.
they would have made more money overall because people still would have bought The Last of Us for the single player mode. Even make the multiplayer like a teaser. Like if I play the multiplayer and see how good it looks, how good it plays, I'm gonna guess that the single player is gonna be amazing.
Absolutely. 100% agree. I think that is a business model that would work with a lot of companies that they just... we were having this conversation yesterday when we were playing GTA Online. The new Prince, Andy, was actually in here. And we were discussing some of the things going on in the gaming industry and some of the practices. And looking kind of at Evolve, for example, and how, as much as I like the game, it should have released as a free-to-play game. Absolutely should have been free-to-play.
Or at least cheap.
Or at least cheaper. It's a multiplayer-only game. And what was that?
I'm sorry, was there not that much content to warrant it being like a full price game?
Yeah, that's pretty much one of the big things. It's
and it still wasn't balanced. Like they took an extra year to balance it, and it's still super unbalanced.
And so like they released a character called the Wraith that people could unlock after playing a certain amount. And the progression system was kind of broken all on its own, but we'll get to that another time. They released this character that was by far the most overpowered enemy of any game I've played multiplayer wise. Like,
and I don't know how they didn't notice it. Like before they released the game,
you literally couldn't take it down.
Like at level 1, without having to put any points into anything, you can't hit it with bullets, and it can take all of the hunters out. Like that defeats the entire game.
Yeah.
Why is it there?
They had to put a nerf out in a patch that came out like I think last month.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah, it was literally like a full page and a half long of updated like mechanics that they changed about this one character. And I was like, guys, really?
Exactly. I was looking at the patch. I was like, damn, I'm still scrolling.
I'm still scrolling.
How did this get by? All of this? How did this get by?
I don't know. Like multiplayer errors like that, I would dismiss and be like, okay, well, it's the multiplayer section of a big release single player game. They probably didn't have time to play test it adequately. But like Evolve, that's all you are. That's all you are, and you took like an extra year just to balance things. What were you doing?
And to their credit, we've had someone from Evolve, the community manager, on the podcast. Like, it's not like they purposely went out of their way to like screw with consumers or like screw with this mechanic. It's just the way things fell, the way that the game was kind of pushed out, and I guess in a way what our expectations are as gamers. Like, if we're going to be paying $60, what should we be getting, type of thing. And again, I'm not knocking the experience. The game is fun. Overall, it's fun. It's just...
If they had built up that single player more, so that it wasn't just like playing with bots on random matches, just add like a framework story and some cutscenes and switch things up a little bit. Teach us how to use the characters a little bit better that way.
Yeah.
The game would totally have been worth $60.
I totally agree.
That would have been minimal work.
Totally agree. And it's interesting because the characters have like interactions between each other that like
Oh,
before
yeah,
the match starts, they
story's
talk
really,
to each other.
really deep. You just
Yeah.
have no way to access it except to play multiplayer matches over and over and over and listen to the load screen.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of how Destiny was. Well, in the sense that, you know, there'll be some conversations and they're like alluding to something like, what am I missing here?
And the thing is that Destiny fucked up because they promised something that was not delivered.
Yeah. I mean, they showed gameplay that wasn't in the game.
Straight up.
Yeah, they did.
Straight up.
Yeah, they did.
You cannot do that.
Well, the House of Wolves is coming soon.
Man, I ain't gonna do shit.
Oh, you mean to include more of the content that was originally in the game?
Hey,
Check out?
gonna give me a reason to play because I haven't played it since I got Bloodborne and Type 0.
I haven't played Destiny.
I haven't played since October.
God damn.
Yeah, I haven't played
Still
since
haven't
October.
finished Ni no Kuni. Damn.
I mean, I'll get back on and play the competitive multiplayer. That's still fun. Don't get me wrong. I still love that. But they still need to fix the progression system with that too, though, man. Like, there's no reason why someone who went 2-17 should get a Gallahorn and I shouldn't
Yep.
get anything.
Yep.
I'm
I
just saying.
told you, Destiny is the biggest troll when it comes to getting stuff. Yet you want it. Always give you shit you already got. My homeboy that plays with granted we haven't played, but we were doing I was doing a Nightfall solo in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 2 shots away from killing the boss, or it was like it was an omnibus strike or whatever. He jumps in, he killed 4 enemies. It was over. He got the Gallahorn. I was like, you know what?
Put the game down.
You talk to me no more. We're not friends. But that's how it is. It is so random. Like I can appreciate the randomness, but I feel like there should be
A higher percentage awarded to people who do well.
exactly. And even if that means they take into account like maybe not PvP but the PvE side, the number of kills you get. What's the point of having that little stat list if it really don't mean nothing?
Right. Right.
I mean, I think Destiny, the big problem is that there just isn't enough content. Like, I think that's why it's structured the way it is because, like, there aren't enough high-power weapons. There just aren't. So they need to limit who gets it, and if they give it to the people that perform well, those people will continue to perform well, and nobody else will ever get it.
Right.
I mean, it's broken either way, but...
Brokenness is broken dust.
And I don't know if you guys heard the news, but Sony has acquired OnLive, the other major streaming platform that made some noise some odd years ago. Do you think that we have some big things planned, or is this just another...
I don't know. They might just be doing it to try and beef up PlayStation Now, because I know PlayStation Now was having server issues.
Mm.
So it may have just been like hey, our system isn't working, but yours is. We're going to buy it and put our system onto yours.
Mm. As I understand it, Gaikai integration... I haven't heard too much about the network issues with PlayStation Now, but I heard that...
I think that's because nobody's using it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's another thing. The big reason why I don't use it is because the pricing model doesn't make sense to me for the games that I want to play. Like, I don't have access to the actual games I want to play on it, and I don't want to deal with latency issues. Like,
yeah. And if I'm going to be playing full price for like a PS3 classic, I'm just going to buy it.
yeah,
I can actually have it.
yeah.
Have to worry about, oh, my internet is down. Now I can't play it.
Or even
hour. Like,
There goes my hour.
yeah, just let people buy the game through the streaming service. Like, it's really not that difficult to figure out a way to get people to pay for shit. Like, they would pay for it if they bought it on a PS3. Just let them buy it on a PS4 and stream it. Done.
I think they might, hopefully they'll move to that. I think they might see that nobody's really going to be renting these old ass games.
Yeah.
I think they really thought they were probably going to be able to squeeze out more.
I think they looked at Nintendo that like the best selling things on like the Wii U store and the 3DS store are often like Super Mario Brothers 1 through 3. And they're like, oh, everybody's super nostalgic. They're gonna rent these games that they already own and play them. Guess what, Sony? You're not Nintendo.
Blockbuster does not exist for a reason. Nobody cares about renting anymore.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're just gonna Redbox. Like,
Or GameFly,
yeah.
Exactly.
if it works.
Exactly.
I hope this means that Sony's going to wise up on that front and actually continue pushing with their streaming service, but allow a business model that makes sense. I think that's my big takeaway.
Sony, if you're listening,
I want them to let me pay for games with my love.
again, Sony, if you're listening, these are the words.
Like, oh, I love this game. I'm gonna play it. Way.
And the Xbox One Slim is rumored to be announced very soon. Now, do you think it's too soon for a slim version of the Xbox One?
I mean, it depends on what they're doing. If it's just smaller, then whatever.
The thing about it, okay, so it really depends, right? Already, because usually when you get the Slims, a lot of times they had less space on them, right?
Yeah.
They had less memory.
They're often just like a cheaper model too.
I'm already like I have 3 games. Well, being that they everybody decided this generation to have to install all the games, I'm already almost maxed out on my Xbox, and I've only have like 5 games.
Yeah.
So a Slim, which is more than likely to have less hard drive space, nah, not for me.
I mean, also if they're giving it more hard drive space and it's going to cost the same, that's just going to piss a lot of people off. But if it's exactly the same, just smaller, and it costs the same as the old one did, like, I don't think anybody's going to be mad.
Mm.
And if you're in a store, it might just be like the extra incentive to be like, ooh, this one's new. I'm going to get this one.
Right. What the fuck?
Look at how slim it is.
I mean, if this is a real design, it does look nice. I mean, this is a tank, but
It's fucking huge. This thing is sitting, taking up like half the space of my goddamn entertainment system on the left side. It's a whole left side I can't use for anything else.
it's pretty big. It is pretty big, but I like it.
I like it. I like my Xbox One. I have seen bigger devices before. The original Xbox was larger than this.
The original PlayStation 3 was gigantic too.
It was.
It was.
Actually, I have the original PlayStation 3 right near my Xbox One, and they're about the same size.
Yeah. I mean, the difference there is that the original PlayStation 3 also had a whole PlayStation 2 inside of it.
That is true.
That is true.
That is true. The Xbox One has a whole Xbox One inside of it.
Yeah. It is not pregnant with a 360.
That's awesome. I did never. Wow. I'm gonna take a picture and say this is pregnant with a PS2 in it. That's amazing.
Yeah, the PS3 has an excuse for being fat.
The Xbox One does
The
not.
Xbox One is like that woman that you go up and you're like, "Oh, when are you due?" And then she just goes, "I'm not." Sorry.
With his most serious face.
Yeah.
Not.
I just assumed because all of your fat was directly there. So, get off topic very easy.
It's fucking amazing. So I'm hoping that the Xbox One Slim solves the issue of the size footprint thing, as well as power consumption. And I would hope that it has a bigger hard drive, because I have a terabyte hard drive on my PS4, and I've had to actually go in and erase some stuff from my PS4 to make room.
I constantly erase stuff from my PS4 because it arranges all the icons when they're used, so I go back like 7 over,
Yeah,
ignoring disc games,
yeah,
and just like delete everything beyond that.
yeah. Because they install so fast anyway. It's not a huge deal, and like I can install stuff while I'm away from home. Just like
It installs fast on PlayStation. It doesn't seem to install so fast on the Xbox.
It does not.
It
does not. I'm
But
sorry.
I still don't understand what the purpose of that is. What's the purpose of having a disc then?
I know for PlayStation, a lot of the extra space is just because of the share feature. It always reserves 40 gigabytes just to record video.
You mean on the game?
Yeah, when you install a game, like every single disc game says like at least several gigabytes of space needed, and a lot of that is just for reserving gameplay footage.
Wow. I feel like that should be a feature that you can turn off, like especially if you use an Elgato game capture card and record all your stuff through that anyway. Something to think about, Sony and Microsoft, if that's what you're doing too. But I do notice that I've played on the Xbox One and I've tried to go like record that, and it's like it takes the last like literally 15 seconds. I'm like, that's not fucking useful.
Well, it is to me because I'm used to that, and then I try to do that on PlayStation, and it just starts from right where I start recording. Because I was trying to show somebody something in Bloodborne. Well, I don't know if you did it. You know where the cannibal is?
Where the cannibal is?
The cannibal guy.
Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a guy.
Are you talking about at the very beginning of the game where like you turn around and they're like, oh, send them over to me and I will
Well, all right. Not to do any spoilers for anybody, there is a particular NPC in the game that if you attack it, which I did because I was just in the moves, I was hacking and slashing, and it let me hit him. Now I couldn't lock on, so that should be my indicator to stop. But I attacked him, and I almost had a heart attack. Because it transforms.
Oh wow!
Then it starts like, have you lost your mind? I was like, oh, I just took off. I was like, no, I'm sorry.
That is so funny.
Oh boy, but yeah, that's in Forbidden Woods.
Wow. I have to think about who's in the Forbidden Woods.
But yeah, I don't even know how we got there. How did we get there? What are we talking?
I don't know. All right, we'll continue on. What the fuck? Oh, you're talking about Xbox One and like, okay, so you were saying you can record.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to record that of what happened, right?
But you can do that. All you have to do is press the share button and then just press square. It'll save the last 15 minutes, not 15 seconds.
And that's why they need so much space.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did it wrong. I just did it wrong then.
Yeah, you definitely did it wrong because like I've tried to go with the Xbox and like, okay, the last 5 minutes or last 15 minutes I should be able to record what I just did. So Xbox record that, and then it just only captured the last 15 seconds, even though I set it up to do more than that.
I think there's a way to change the length of time it goes back.
I think you have to snap. All right, this is fucking stupid. I think you have to snap the application, the DVR application, and then have that running, and then record before. Like you have to have that open before you start playing. So you can't just like retroactively just do it. You have to actually open it up and then tell it to go back after. It's like, guys, really?
Yep.
Really? Again, I like my Xbox One. Don't get me wrong. It's just it like literally doesn't hold a candle right now. Right now, to the experience I'm having on my PlayStation.
I love my Wii U, but it's not a next-gen system.
And that was another thing I was thinking about. Am I going to get the Wii U? Because I was seeing those talks about the next Nintendo system.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy it, and then they're like, "Yeah, here we go, the true next year." I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, but I don't know. The thing with Nintendo is, one, they're really bad about supporting their old systems when a new one comes out. But also, their best games don't come out until like right before a system dies.
Right.
Always.
That is really fascinating.
Because they are like really the only people that develop for their systems nowadays, with very few exceptions. Like, it takes them so long to figure out how best to develop for their own system. It's very weird.
That's so weird.
Nintendo's a very strange company, and I don't understand a thing they do.
Yeah. I don't either.
I don't believe anybody does.
All right. I can hear my echo a little bit. It's weird. Anyway, Deus Ex Mankind has been officially well, I don't know if it's officially, but it's been unveiled.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Did you play the one on last gen?
I played the last one. It was good. It was short, but it was good. The first game's still one of my favorite games of all time. So
nice. I never played the very first one before.
I think it was PC only. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, the cybernetic enhancements, the hacking, the stealth. I think they did a really cool job. I never finished Human Revolution, but I do have it. I
I
believe.
finished it in like a sitting. It's
Holy crap! It's
not
that
a
short.
short game. It's like a 15-hour game at the most.
God damn.
I also probably didn't stealth as much as you. That might be the difference.
Yeah. I went in stealth because that's one of the things I default to because of Metal Gear. Metal Gear.
And I think that was one of the major complaints about the game is that it was sort of made assuming that people would do things. It gave you the freedom to do other things, but as soon as you did them, like the game became very easy.
Yeah. I heard about that actually.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't played any of the Deus Exes. They always looked interesting to me, and I'm very much a sci-fi geek. I do like that kind of stuff, but I don't know, for some reason, I just never got around to them. And then, as far as the last one, kind of the reviews and stuff that I've watched didn't really paint in the best light. It looked kind of clunky,
It was a little clunky.
It was a little bit.
but as far as being stealthy, that I lost my patience with stealth in Splinter Cell, the original Splinter Cell. Like, I couldn't do it.
If Mass Effect had never come out, I would have said that the last Deus Ex game was really, really good.
Okay, that's fair.
Mass Effect is a thing, so it's just okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Mass Effect is the shit. Mass Effect.
That is one of my first goals this summer, now that I have an Elgato, is to do Mass Effect 1 through 3 fully recorded. Start to
Nice. Did you get the HD60?
What was that?
Do you have the HD60?
Think so.
Is it?
Not that I have the same one that you do. Well,
Oh, so it's the older one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if my internet would support higher resolution, anyways. So
Oh man, the only one I didn't finish was the first one, and that was because I played the second one first.
Me
I've
too.
never played the first one
Same here.
because it wasn't available on PlayStation until the trilogy came out, which I bought on sale for like $10. I just haven't played it yet.
So I will tell you, you must have patience and give it time. Yeah, I really hate that I sold my 360 prematurely, just so I could get some of that scratch back from buying the Xbox or the PlayStation. But I should have waited because I didn't finish Tales of Vesperia or Mass Effect 1, and now I'm kicking myself.
Dude. Yeah. I also never played Mass Effect 1, but I read a lot about it to understand who the characters were and what their relationships were moving into 2 and 3, so.
And I think that what Mass Effect 2 did on PS3, I think was really good with that motion comic that you could get
Yeah.
to replay the whole game. That gave you a lot, and I think it gave you a very good starting point to go into the background for everything and sort of understand, which was nice.
And speaking of BioWare, apparently they have not forgotten Jade Empire. Now, do we have possible news incoming, perhaps? Have you guys ever played Jade Empire?
Nope.
I didn't. I remember it. I remember it back in the day, but at that time, I was playing a lot of sports games. That was high school. I was playing Madden and NCAA football and all. That's pretty much all I played. So at that point, I hadn't really. My palate for gaming had not sophisticated.
Okay. It's a very good way of putting it, yeah.
Definitely try it now.
Yeah, I think those were very, very good games. When I played not very good games. It was a very good game. It was very much like what we have in Mass Effect now, with like the ability to kind of like choose your own answers to things, and you kind of, I don't know if you actually created a character. I think you were just playing as kind of pre-made characters. But it was all martial arts based. So it was like, think of like Mass Effect or Dragon Age, but in a martial arts environment, like with magic and stuff. Like, it was really cool. And I think it's time that they do something with it, because that was a gem of a game. It was short for what it was. Like, if you compare it to Mass Effect and Dragon Age, it's much shorter than those games. But if they kind of elaborated on that world and elaborated on what that game did, and the martial arts and the action and the actual, hand-to-hand combat, it would be awesome. I'd be down for it.
Yeah, I do remember it was all the rave, and like I remember he's like, I had a couple of friends that played. I was like,
I don't know how critically it sold. I don't know how it did in terms of like metrics.
I think it was one of those games that kind of had like a cult following type thing. The people that liked it, that ended up getting it, like taking that chance, end up loving it. But as far as like, it was still nothing that was too big.
Yeah.
It got positive reviews from most critics. IGN praised it as having a completely original universe, hard-hitting combat, accessible controls, and the story in an RPG on Xbox. Regarding the graphics, IGN stated environments are beautiful and the characters are real enough to fall in love with.
Retrospectively looking at that.
That was in regards to graphics. What are they going to say about Witcher?
Dude. They're going to say you're I'm not even going to say that. I was going to say, like, if your character is having sex, it's going to look like you're actually doing it. Like, it's going to be that real.
You know, while I was playing Bloodborne, I had the thought to myself, what if Final Fantasy 15 was multiplayer?
Dude. If Bloodborne was true multiplayer, that game would be 10 times more fun.
It would.
I'm just saying that right now. I know there are a lot of purists out there who are Demon Souls, Dark Souls aficionados who say a multiplayer functionality would ruin this game. I disagree. I think having an option to play it that way would make the game, I don't want to say appeal to everyone, but I think it's important to talk about this because this is one of the distinctions between a game that is highly acclaimed but not for everyone versus a game that's not highly acclaimed that is for most people. So, amongst most of the major publications, Bloodborne has been getting anywhere between 8 to 10 out of 10s.
Right.
Most of the gaming publications out there, outlets, YouTubers, this is not a game for everyone. This is not a game that any person can enjoy because of the difficulty and because of the way the mechanics work, and especially because of the multiplayer components. Mm-hmm. It has multiplayer, but the way that it makes you actually go into multiplayer is absurd. Absurd. It is the number one thing I think they should have an option to change for.
And the thing that kind of gets on my nerves, granted, now once you finally learn where the bell ringing women are, it's not so much of a big deal. I don't necessarily like the whole being invaded, the Sinister Bell thing, because most of those dudes are just dicks. Like, yeah. I'm trying to enjoy beating the game. Like, there's one section with the Nightmare Frontier that pretty much apparently is like one of the designated PvP spots. You really get in there easy. They should just have it that way. Like, if you want to do PvP, do it that way.
Right.
If you get invaded, like, I understand that being that this is typically like a single player thing, we're giving you the option, to beat a single player game with your friends. So when you're taking on that, when you're doing that, you're also opening yourself up to get fucked up. But I don't like it.
I understand it, but I also don't like it. I think that's one thing I could live with when it comes to that game. Like, if they kept that in there, like, all right, I really don't like it, but I understand that you want to keep it challenging, because if someone joins your game, that makes it an easier experience for you, kind of by default.
It does.
And so having that extra added element of both fear and complexity would go a long way in kind of keeping that tension up. So I understand that. But especially if you're going to have that mechanic built in where it takes me this long to join with my friend and this much effort to join, and then someone's going to jump into my game right after that. Like, make it easy for us to play together. Make it easy for us to play together. Keep that element still in there. You still have that difficulty. Like, it's really not a difficult concept to think of and to execute. And I don't understand how people can defend it. Like, it's obviously their choice because it's their game. But if they get enough pushback from people, they will do it.
Right.
It's as simple as that. I mean, if there's enough noise made in the gaming community, they will implement that system. And I think the perfect example of this is the Chalice Dungeon, where I don't know if you've done this yet. I've gone into the Chalice Dungeon and done like a level myself. There is a way you can invite your friend in there, but they have to go to the first tombstone for the Chalice Dungeons.
They put in the glyph code.
Put in the glyph code, and then actually get transported into their version of the dungeon, and then use their bell, and then turn your password. Like, there's really no reason why you have to.
You can't just go straight to your dungeon.
Yeah, there's no reason you have to create a guide to access multiplayer. Like, it's just that simple.
Exactly. And you would think by putting in the glyph, that's putting you right into your dungeon.
What's the point then, right?
What's the point of the glyph?
God, fucking damn it. so mad.
It is crazy. It's like, yeah, you can play with up to 5 people. Shit.
Try as you might.
Good luck. I hope y'all all just starting. Oh, and I believe you probably beat the game by yourself. Well, the fucked up thing about beating the game, so you can still do that co-op, right? Mm-hmm. But whoever beats it can't go back and help the person that helped them. Because that gate is closed.
So you got to go through the whole game again in order to get there.
Yep. So like I was doing it with my friend, and he helped me. I was like, "Yeah, don't worry, I got you. I'm coming." Oh,
wait. So if I start New Game Plus, will my friends still be able to join me?
Yeah, I mean they can join you as long as it's an area. Well, they can still join you. But as far as like that, the person. So let's say you're the one who beat it, and the person still hasn't beaten it. When you go to New Game Plus, your gate is closed.
That's true. So
he has to either get a random in there or beat it by himself.
Yeah, I mean, I beat him by myself. Second try, I did my thing, but...
Douchebag, man.
With the boss?
Yes.
Yeah.
The last one is, too.
What, you mean the
moon thing, it's called.
I didn't fight that one yet.
You probably will, because I know you're not gonna. Did you fight everybody? I know you're gonna at least do one full second playthrough just to make sure you do everything.
Oh yeah, no.
I think I missed one. I've missed 2 battles. I think I missed one with a hunter.
Okay.
Apparently, there's like some electric gear you can get. I missed that battle because I made Eileen hostile toward me.
Oh yeah.
And then I really feel like I saw a video of a battle with the mother, but I couldn't find it.
The mother. Oh wow.
The tall motherfucker, like right before the wet nurse.
Huh.
I could have sworn I saw a video of someone fighting her, but then after that I could never find it again.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, so those are the only 2 battles I think I missed. I fought amygdala and all that stuff.
Yeah, dude, that battle was really hard at first, and then like I jumped back into that battle again after like taking a day off, and I was like, this is kind of easier than it was before the last time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But moving on to the final part of the gaming news before we move on to the hot topic, is Black Ops 3 info allegedly leaked, containing interesting information about dark setting, embedded cybernetic enhancements. Are we excited?
I'm not, but
why not?
Call of Duty never excites me, so I'm not the person to ask.
Yeah.
And cybernetic enhancements I would be excited for, except that, like, that's in every game now?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure the next Mario, he's a cyborg.
Now...
Rocket launcher that launches, like, mushrooms.
Right. Now, this is what I was waiting for. So earlier we made mention of Advanced Warfare, and I said I was done.
And that's really interesting because I still really like Advanced Warfare, and there's also the playlist option to play Advanced Warfare without the enhancements, like the exosuit enhancements. So you still can go back to that classic feel.
Well, that is true, but it's a difference. So first we'll just talk about the shooting mechanic. I don't know what it is. Every other duty, when I shoot at somebody, there's always been, of course, the somewhat of an input lag, like I hit him with 5 bullets, why did he shoot me with 1? But it's never been a thing where like I'm shooting him, but my gun is like going. I swear, like when I play Advanced Warfare, I don't know what it is about that game, but the guns just don't really shoot in a straight line. I don't know if that's just me.
They have more recoil than others.
They have a lot more recoil, and it's annoying. That's something I could get used to. I don't play it enough. But in terms of the boost, I feel like I don't know how Titanfall seemed to get it right. But it just, for some reason, I don't know if it's the maps are too small or what exactly. But the boost on Advanced Warfare don't really feel right to me.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. It's like. So it's not a true, like, so when they're boosting, it's so herky and jerky, like it's kind of hard to predict what their trajectory is. And also what I've noticed with Advanced Warfare, you pretty much got to have a scuff to really be doing some damage. Because most of the thing is like doing a lot, like these are super jump shots, but it's like boosting and jumping. I can't really do that without having scuff, like, because you have to remove you have to remove your finger from the damn the aiming button. You have to remove your thumb. That's the thing about the scuff. You can do that stuff without having to remove your finger. But yeah, so apparently, according to Thunder, which is a Call of Duty commentator, 402 Thunder, Thunderstruck Gaming, or whatever, he said his inside man said, there will be boost, but maybe not vertical boost.
Yeah.
So, or like jumping boost or whatever. So it might just be exactly, strafe boost and stuff like that. So that's something I can deal with. And honestly, like I said, I really don't know what the difference is. Titanfall did it well. I had no problems with Titanfall, and I think the main thing is simply the boost, in addition to all that damn recoil.
And that's probably there's like bots in Titanfall, so you feel like you can.
I don't even go for the bots. I never went for the bots.
I mean, sometimes you don't know who's a bot and who's a player, though. Like, you be shooting, and there's a player hiding inside the bots, just like chilling, acting like a bot. I'm like, oh,
but yeah, so I'm excited.
More of that game, by the way. More Titanfall.
I see now. I saw that there was something that doesn't seem to be there anymore.
What was it?
Concerning Titanfall.
Oh, I think that was on the last podcast. That's why. I think that was still there. But we can talk about it. I have no problem kind of discussing it quickly. Because
I think it's a good thing for them to move to, and I think everybody knew they were going to do that.
Yeah.
To be cross-platform.
Right.
It was already on PC or whatever, but
that's going to be a game changer, man. Like, in terms of Titanfall, like, I like Titanfall. I played it on PC and I have it on Xbox One. I got it for like $12 on there. And there's like the full expansions included with it as well. I like Titanfall. I think it's a great game. But as like it is one of those games that's only multiplayer. So if you don't want to keep playing multiplayer, that's pretty much like that's all you're really getting with it. So,
and see, well, that's the thing. Well, granted, that was one of the games that did the only multiplayer thing pretty well.
Yeah, I think so.
There wasn't much to gripe about it. Granted, everybody was like, "Ooh, I just wish there were some story, or whatever." Yeah, but as far as what you're getting, and they didn't really say anything else false. Like you know what you're getting with it,
right?
And so that's all it is, and they did that pretty well, and that's why I commend them for. Of course, you would definitely hope for them to expand. I mean, just like there's certain maps with the little dinosaur things or the little whatever flying around, here.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
Yeah. But why are they there? What are they even? What the fuck? Give me some information about that.
Yeah, at least give me some grimoire cards, damn it.
The only time you ever hear me wanting grimoire cards. And so we're moving on to the final part of the podcast. Our final moments. Do you have any guest topics, either of you, that you'd like to bring to the table, aside from the Titanfall that we just talked about?
I'm good.
Good. All right. So, as many of you who are listening to this podcast know, I, as well as many of the people who have been featured on this podcast, are content creators of some sort. So, we do Twitch streaming, or we do, videos on YouTube, or we do, blogs. In one way or another.
Pants off, dance off once, whatever.
Pants off, dance off. And as YouTubers and Twitch streamers become more and more prevalent as part of this, I guess, gaming industry, do either of you, and people at home, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, will we see more companies take on the more embracing mentality like so many publishers already have? Or do you think Nintendo's reluctance set the bar for publisher behaviors to come? And so will we see more... Will this be successful with what Nintendo is doing, and will we see more publishers doing this?
I think we're going to see more restrictions. Like Nintendo already, half the Nintendo stuff I upload, as soon as I upload it to YouTube, it tells me, like, this matches third-party content. You can't monetize this. You're using the rights. Life is Strange did the same thing as soon as it detected audio from from some of the songs because the artists own the song. So music rights are also a problem there too.
Yeah.
Because if a game contains a song that they don't own all the rights to, that they only own the rights to use for their game, if you go to publish it, you actually don't have the right to do that, and they have to mute your video.
Right.
So I think that rights are just a big bundle of problems all the time, and I think it's just going to get worse. Because it isn't just up to the publishers. That's the thing. Like, it's up to everybody who has contributed anything to the game.
See, that's the good thing. Like, that's why I like the whole YouTube scene thing. Like I said, when you meet people and then when you do your network with your friends, like I got a couple of friends that make their own music, make their own beats. So if I needed some music on something, I wouldn't have to worry about that. Right. At the same time, I understand why Nintendo is doing what they're doing. I understand why certain companies do what they do, but at the same time, I feel like they're losing sight of the bigger picture, that these people are bringing more attention to your product. Even the music, people are bringing more attention. Like, that's something subliminally that's going to get stuck in their head. They're watching you and they're hearing that, and they're going to associate something with associate that music with something that is entertaining to them, and they're going to maybe go look for it, or or do some research about it. So,
I agree with you, but I mean, there's still just the classic, like, they didn't ask you if they could use your product. They did not obtain consent, so it's all used illegally.
Aside from the fact that you purchased the game.
You don't own the game. The back of every game says that you're using it under contract. Every game.
It's crazy.
You don't own any game.
Fine print, boy, I tell you.
You have bought a lease to every game that you own.
And, both of you guys are right. It's totally within the publisher's legal right to do that. But it is in their best interest not to do it.
Yeah.
And I was actually seeing a series of tweets between Angry Joe and David Jaffe talking about this very thing. And there was a misunderstanding between the two of them in terms of like what Jaffe was saying about kind of the feeling of like how Angry Joe came across in one of his videos, talking about what Nintendo did with his video that he spent a lot of time putting together and actually getting out there for people to watch. It was in response to that video that Angry Joe did regarding what needs to change with Nintendo and why he's not going to be putting any more Nintendo games on his channel. And as any lawyer can tell you, it is within Nintendo's legal right to say you can't put this on here or you can't use this or this, that, and the third. I mean, Nintendo pretty much owns all the content that is Nintendo products. Like, they have a very tight grip on that, and it's my understanding that they don't want to let that go. Contrary to the very obvious implications of what value creators bring to the table when they put videos out like that. Nowadays, more and more you're seeing advertising companies and publishers and developers in general gravitating more and more towards involving YouTube creators and Twitch streamers, because although they know that like they're using their content to generate a form of entertainment out of that, it is generating knowledge, interest, and hype around that said product.
Yeah. But I think it's the whole permission issue. Sort of like when the advertisers go to a YouTube creator, the difference is that they're saying, like, you can use our product. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of creators, it's still the fact that, like, they don't have control over how their product is being distributed. And that's a big issue. Like, it's hard to compare to another media because there isn't another media where, like, every time somebody sees it, it's different.
Right.
Like a video game. But, like, I don't know. Picture it this way. Picture you spend all of your time and money making, like, a new comic book, and then somebody in reviewing it actually shows a YouTube video of every single frame of the comic book. Like, you've just lost all the money you'd ever make off of it because nobody ever needs to buy it.
In a way, I would totally agree with that. And also in another way, I'm also like, well, I guess it depends, right? Because looking at it through a computer screen is different than seeing it in print.
It is.
So it's kind of a different experience if you're just only going through and watching someone's overall commentary on the said product versus actually experiencing it for yourself. Yeah. And so what you might find is that people will see something that gives hints as to what something is, then they'll buy it, and then they'll watch the video. I
mean, this is the same discussion that like the industry, the movie industry, and the music industry had years ago, like with digital rights issues. And I'm assuming video games is going to end the same way those industries did, because the developers and the publishers still have just as much at stake monetarily. So it's going to end the same way, where they're just going to get stricter.
Interesting.
Because if we look at like music, at first when music was distributed digitally, like publishers were on the fence. They were like, we could crack down on this, or we could let it continue and see if our sales go up. Their sales didn't go up. Their sales went through the floor.
Well, I feel like music sales overall are already declining still to this day. Not because necessarily like digital distribution rights, but because like people are consuming it in a different way now.
Yeah. But I mean, like movies is the same thing too. Like movie studios, when things started being distributed digitally, they always cared more, I think, because movies cost more. Just like they do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they didn't really start to crack down on it until they were like, well, we were hoping that maybe some of these bootleg things would give us some hype that people would go see our movies. But it turns out that instead of paying $12 for a movie ticket, people are just watching it on their computer.
But that's kind of, I guess that's kind of the difference, right? Is one is pirating and one is actually creating content, like derivative content.
But are you creating content? I think it's the use of the word create.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not creating the content, you're experiencing the content and then adding your experience to it.
And so do you think that there are as prevalent experiences to be had with that same type of thing with movies and music? Like, do you think that there's added value to someone watching watch a movie versus playing a game or...
I mean, that's why we have commentary on DVDs.
Right, but that's like...
I mean,
that's like an additional
different
thing
about video games, and that's why I think this whole discussion is, one, because technology hadn't caught up until now to allow people very easily to broadcast and like video chat at the same time. Like, it just didn't exist in this country until fairly recently.
Right.
So I think that's part of why this got delayed, and also it's a different type of medium. But I really feel like within the next few years, publishers are going to see the same thing. They're going to have sort of the same reaction of, oh, less people are buying our games because they can watch the entire single-player game story from start to end on YouTube and not pay a cent.
And the thing about that, I understand where you're going with that, and I could see that. But the thing about listening to music or buying a movie or reading a book, there's less action that you have to put in. So yeah, I can. Most of the time when I watch somebody play, I mean, Fangs Yu said that while he was trying to get his thing together while he was doing his concept design, he watched people play versus playing them. But that was just because he didn't have the time. Now, for me personally, I watch people play, but I watch people play, okay, to see if I'm going to get the game, to see if this is something that interests me. So I rarely, like, even the Rare Bread, I rarely watch a whole series. I just watch
that. That's why that's still allowed, like, is because that is still the mentality. But at some point, more developers are going to start realizing that it can impact their profits. Even if that's like you're watching it to see if you should buy the game and you realize that you shouldn't.
Right.
And that they're going to stop allowing things to be shown on the off chance that you won't like what you see.
That is true. That
is the adverse effect of that. I mean, if a game is shitty and
right.
people are streaming it and they're like, "Dad, this game is fucking shitty,"
it's going to reach more. It's going to reach more viewers. More the audience is going to be larger doing it that way. But by the same token, the reverse could also prove true. Right. But it's all about it's all about the chance. Are you going to take that high risk?
I don't know. I could also see it becoming a new feature. Like on the back of a game box, it might be like
endorsed by this YouTuber.
Yeah, like we grant you the rights to broadcast this.
And a lot of publishers actually, and developers like studios, they have on their websites public statements saying, YouTubers, please stream our content, broadcast our content, like do as much of that as you can. There's like a directory online that you can go to that has a list of all of them that do that. But I've been seeing that pop up a lot more lately, is that like they would go out of their way to say, hey, make YouTube videos about our game, do it. And so that's why I'm hoping that continues, because as someone who does it, I really enjoy doing it. And as like someone who consumes that type of content as well, like media, like I like watching it.
Right.
And I've bought games because of that before. And I know people have bought games or bought products because of the stuff that I've put up. So,
I mean, and honestly, I've been on the fence, but after your last video, just looking at some of the stuff that was going on in Dying Light, I was thinking about getting it.
Yeah, man.
It looks It looks a lot prettier than I thought it did.
Yeah, and that was taken from a stream, so like the quality of the stream wasn't as high as it would have been if I just got it directly from my Elgato. So yeah,
Exactly.
that game's fun, man.
And then I got somebody at work telling me, man, Dying Light is just a beautiful piece of work, baby.
I mean,
He was going on.
I see this also going to a very bad place, which was sort of what Nintendo also tried to start at one point too, where you're only allowed to show the stuff on YouTube. Like YouTube would switch who actually sponsors the ads, and it's only going to be the game companies.
Oh, interesting.
So you'd only see ads for the game that the person you're watching is playing when you're watching them play the game. And I see that being super problematic, and I see that being the alternate future.
Why would that be problematic, though? Because as a viewer, when I watch YouTube, I mean, when I watch Hulu, anytime ads come on, like, subconsciously, I just turn off.
Well, think about it this way, like,
I really don't care.
think about when you're, like, looking through a magazine, and you get to one of those articles that says advertisement on the top. It would be sort of the same thing where you're like, you're not always necessarily sure, like, where the person's commentary ends and where the ad begins. And that also opens up, like, if the game is paying for the advertisements on their YouTube channel, that means that they now have sway to tell YouTube, don't pay this person anymore because they didn't review our game well.
Interesting. I can see that being the, I guess, extreme side of the scenario. I mean, I think anything at this point is possible, especially because this is such a new medium, and also like this form of consumption is only within the last 5 years, I think, right?
Yeah.
So,
I still think it's going to end up like Nintendo, where companies are just going to embed their games with signals that YouTube can detect, so that when you do a Uplay to YouTube, once it's uploaded to YouTube or anywhere that's monetized, the company is going to take all the money that you would otherwise earn.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Because companies want as much money as they can get, and that's their job as companies, is to make as much money as they can.
Okay. I genuinely hope that doesn't happen. I genuinely hope that there's still added value to the free advertisement versus the money that they would have gotten from the video otherwise, but
even better, free advertisement and they're getting paid for you watching their ad.
But that's the thing. People would stop. I'm like, as someone who does it, I would stop doing it if I wasn't being able to do that. Like, I would just stop. Like, that's kind of one of the things that Angry Joe did. He's just not supporting Nintendo games anymore, and so that's a whole chapter, a whole market that's just not going to be captured through his videos. I mean, he's only one person, so he doesn't represent the large of what YouTube creators are. But I feel like at me personally, I would not. Like, if I was making Nintendo content, if I was making videos based off Nintendo games, I wouldn't do it anymore. Like, especially with all these other publishers and companies not doing it.
What it should go to, if it's, let's say it goes down that route and it becomes like this kind of big backlash between content creators and the publishers and all that, why don't they just hire you?
I mean, I would think that makes
why don't they
sense.
just hire you? That should be
That's where I see it heading is that it goes down two roads. Like, one is that the companies essentially start making money off of everything that YouTube plays rather than you making money. And the alternate that could happen at the same time is that they then start paying certain people to play their games.
I mean, that kind of happens these days now. Anyway,
that does kind of happen, but it's also problematic when it comes to watching a game for a review, because if you know the company is paying you to play, you're not going to say bad things about the game.
Yep, that came out. That was the whole Microsoft thing.
I mean, that's the thing. They have to be very transparent about that. And I think that's the big difference. Is being when you're making the video, hey, I'm getting paid to make this video. I'm being sponsored by Microsoft to make this video, and then you go on your spiel. You can take that whatever way you want to take it, and that's the difference. Hey,
so in terms of watching them to decide if you're going to buy a game, you can still do that, but you just sort of have to know that you're essentially watching an ad.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I'm very interested to see where this goes. And again, I'm really hoping that we move away from the Nintendo mentality when it comes to this. But I agree with you, Kevin, though. It can really swing in either way. again, I'm just hopeful.
We all are. We all are. Yeah. We better sign that blood contract before it gets too ugly.
I just know, like, I don't know. Studying rights management, companies never want to give out rights that they don't have to.
Right.
The last thing you want to do is release any control over what you've made. Exactly. Or what you own.
And that's why, boys and girls, get into business for yourself. Get your own thing.
Well, do you guys have any other comments that you'd like to make before we bring the podcast to a close?
Thank you for having me on to the show. It's been a pleasure. It's the second time. I'm trying to become a regular, but it's hard with these schedules, you know. Yeah,
man. I want to be mindful of that. I want to be able to have you on more as well. And again, you know, the last podcast wasn't until I think the last one was like 3 weeks ago, maybe even more than that. I don't remember. But I don't know. I have to see kind of what works best in terms of like my own schedule of like putting that together and getting everyone together for these podcasts. So maybe we'll continue doing every 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be once every month. Maybe one day it'll be once every week. That would be amazing.
But every hour on the hour.
In order for that to be a thing, I would need to be able to put a lot of other things to the side, which I can't do quite yet. One of those being full-time work. Once I'm in a position to be doing more freelance work and more work based on this, you know, YouTube and Twitch.
Just really enjoy the new release schedule when it's like the 7th one of the day, and you're like, "Yep, nothing's released from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock." That is your gaming news.
Goodbye.
You know, well, I actually did have a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, as I told you, like, I've always wanted to be a creator. Like, I've always wanted to be part of something to create, and that's always been part of games. So, being that it's never necessarily too late, but I didn't really want to go the computer program route. I wanted to be like the concept art and be able to bring the picture to what people are thinking about. You know what I'm saying? Like with your art, I know you kind of have your job in the art. You play the games. You ever thought about that?
I have. It's a very specific market. And it's one that there aren't a lot of open positions for in general.
Right.
And it's very unstable too, which means that positions are very, very competitive because somebody's always just out of work.
Yeah. And so like there's certain geographical areas that you kind of have to be in order for that to work for you. And you do make really good money doing that. But I think what would be better for me right now is doing what I'm doing right now in terms of graphic design, getting more of the, I guess, project management side of things underway so that I can do more freelance contractual based stuff. That way I already know what I'm in for in terms of like overall flow. I'm working on different projects and I know that like I'm going to be working with this company for this amount of time and then moving to this company doing this, as opposed to being like a full-time employee somewhere. I can have a lot more leverage if I'm doing it that way, and I think that's kind of like my big next step.
Okay.
But I think most people probably shouldn't do it that way.
The problem with that, though, is that you're going to spend a lot of time like just trying to constantly find the next job. So that's sort of the downside to that is that like that's essentially how I work aside from my one job at Bridgewater. It's just like half of my energy is on what I'm doing, and at least a quarter of my energy is on like what am I doing next, so that I don't starve next month.
Yep, and that's the big struggle, and why I'm not doing it now. That's why it's a next step thing, and I'm not gonna jump to that until I know for sure I have some really big things lined up, and that's why another reason why I'm doing graphic design as well, so that I can teeter between the two as opposed to only doing one specific thing.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, one of the things that they tell you is like it's really good to have a part-time job or a full-time job and do that on the side. But right now, like my full-time job is like draining the fuck out of me.
I trust me, I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
And I never thought you think call centers are not taxing. Maybe not on my body, but by the time I get off, I don't want to hear anybody's voice.
Thank you guys so much for coming on this podcast. It has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of really great discussions on a lot of things. We barely even talked about Mortal Kombat, but we did talk about it a little bit up there. There will be more opportunities to talk about it once the game releases, and I will be streaming it on twitch.tv/jblaze06.
I will be too.
Kkosaurus will also be streaming it. Make sure you guys tune into that. He will probably be starting his stream before me, so I will host on my channel.
You may be able to do both at the same time and get, like, if we're playing each other, get a split screen of both reactions so you can see what happens when one of us punches the other's head off. Or, like, the x-ray of what happens when one of us actually, like, kicks the other one in the balls and breaks their pelvis.
I've been staying away from as many trailers and gameplay stuff as possible leading up to this. So I just
know what's going to be there.
Someone's
going
to get stabbed in the
thing
balls.
still. I know it still has the x-ray thing. So, like,
yeah,
you're going to get weird injuries that should kill you. You're just going to get back up and continue fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to be like, I don't know how you're fighting. Your skull was just blown to pieces.
And your eye is missing.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was you think? Was it?
No, I just said that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna have to definitely use you guys as like a guide. Well, not a guide, but to see if I want to buy it because I haven't been in the Mortal Kombat since Sega Genesis.
Yeah, it's been a while for me as well.
I mean, I know it's going to be fun. I just don't know how much replay value it's going to have. The last one had a lot, but they don't all.
Right. Anyway.
Hey, I need to go run some errands, but I will catch you guys later.
Absolutely.
Right.
Game on.
You guys take it easy.
Absolutely. Game on. And J Blaze out.